Welcome to Infinite Wellness. I am your host, Noelle Agape, and here we learn everything health, wellness, and consciousness. Today, I am with my soul sister, Angie Sanchez, and she is amazing and beautiful light in this world. She is a meditation teacher, and she is a quantum healing practitioner, hypnosis practitioner, right? I want to get that right. And so she is absolutely beautiful. And so Angie, welcome. Tell us about you and everything that you are.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Noelle. I'm happy to just be here and exchange this conversation with you and all of your viewers, your community. So a little bit about me. I'm a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner. I facilitate past life regression sessions. And during sessions, people connect with their higher self. So the method that I'm trained in was created by a woman named Dolores Cannon, who has a million YouTube videos that people can research and access. And then I also meditate. I meditate too, but I'm a meditation facilitator. So, I lead people through time and space as you do.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a really fun field to work in.
So, oh my gosh, that's such a big, broad thing is quantum healing hypnosis practitioner. So tell me a little bit. I know what it is because that's what we do together, but tell everybody, the viewers, what quantum healing is and what actually you do in your work because it's so powerful.
Yeah, so during a quantum healing hypnosis session, for my sessions are normally about 4 to 5 hours long. And during a session, we go over important events in someone's life. People that they have met, important people who maybe perhaps because they met this one person, they decided to take a different path in their life journey. So we'll go over all of those events and then we'll go into the regression, which is where I always like to say that there are guides, like let's just say you come in for a session, your guides, your angels, your team that walks with you energetically is the one guiding your session. So in that sense, they can go to either a past life or another dimension or another planet or go to Atlantis, go to so many different worlds, universes that that are coexisting at this moment. And then a client comes in with questions that they have prepared to ask their higher self. So these questions can be anything from what is my life purpose to why does my leg hurt to, I have this a connection with my boss. He feels very familiar or she feels very familiar. I don't know why. And so all of those questions, it really ranges from anything about life, about the person in particular. And so I'll ask those questions on their behalf. And during that second part of a hypnosis session, they're channeling that information while we connect to higher self, or sometimes past loved ones come through. Sometimes, pets come through. Like it's really an array of a connection. And then afterwards, we integrate the information and the whole thing is recorded, audio recorded. So it's really empowering. Yeah.
And so is it basically their subconscious talking to them to get to them to a higher version of themselves and using, because so many people maybe not understanding that. So is it a lot of using your imagination and going into the quantum fields in the imagination and whatever messages that you have is really what you're supposed to be working on in your life?
Yeah. So I don't like the thing. I don't think it's the imagination because some things happen that are super out of left field. And sometimes you're like, whoa, where did that come from? Or like, oh, I would never imagine something like that happening. So I don't think it's the imagination, although we are accessing that part of the brain. And sometimes people do feel like they're imagining what they see. However, some of the information that comes through is so unexpected. And there's just tapping into various dimensions where there's information that helps with the present lifetime and the present moment. So in that sense, I don't feel that it's 100% imagination. I think that the imagination is kind of that gateway that allows us to walk through the door and fly into the ether. But yeah, I mean, all the information that comes up is to pretty much bring everything up to our conscious experience. And that way some things lose power over us and some things, gain momentum because they have more purpose.
So that's huge, and you know that you and I both do. We work in the quantum fields. I do work with quantum physics, and you work with quantum healing. And so basically, everything exists in every dimension of time, space, and reality, right? And so you're just tapping into a different version of them when you're going into that. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Amazing. Amazing. And so tell me, like, give me an idea or walk our viewers through, because I understand it. Like, what would someone in your session, like, what would they come out after going in, so you said 4 hours, and I've worked with you. It's such a powerful, powerful experience to go in and then come out. You literally come out a different person. So walk us through maybe the process of that, and not the actual process, but like mentally and emotionally what they're going through during that process.
Yeah. It's really fascinating and very humbling because, so someone comes into a session, they're curious or they're nervous because it's hypnosis, and there's all these scary movies around hypnosis, but really there's nothing to be afraid of. But it's natural that someone's nervous about having a session. So after having gone through the session itself, when they wake up, it's almost like I've seen clients look completely different from the moment that they walked in.
Love that.
I've seen like either the tone changes, the tone of their voice changes. It becomes either more calm or more soothing or just more grounded and connected. I've seen people who, mostly everyone needs some time to integrate the information because it's so new to what our everyday lives are. We're always consuming all this information. And just for that moment in a session, it's almost like you're exposed to different aspects of our universe. So for many people, it's like, whoa, what just happened? Or like, whoa, that was weird. Or what was that? It's kind of that like shocker factor, but not so much that it really shakes up our reality. It's not that. It's like, it just wakes us up a little bit more. So in essence, yeah, they are a different person because they have walked through a door that's different from our everyday life.
I love that. And you mentioned the word gateway. And I think that that's such a powerful word, is that when we allow ourselves to step into the highest version of ourselves and open the gates and walk through the gateway and own that, we really do come out a different person from that. So tell me, let's talk about the highest self and going there and self-love and knowing how valuable we are as people. And you and I were speaking about this before we hopped on here, is that, how much we value ourselves and how people don't value themselves, and how can the work that you do change that?
Yeah. So where do we begin? So how much do we value ourselves, or do you want me to start there?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that self-love is probably one with my clients for sure, with whether it's abundance blocks or anything, or love blocks, there's always blocks in their life in some way, because down deep, part of them doesn't love themselves enough to feel like they deserve it, or they don't feel like they're worthy enough to have it. Right. And so let's start there and go into deep, getting to your highest self afterwards.
Yeah. So I think that we always have this sense of higher self. We always have this, sometimes we're so stuck in for example, I'll give you an example. I remember in 2015, I was so sad. At the time, I was very involved in the entertainment industry as an actress. And as an actress, I was going to all these like networking events and auditions, and then even booking a job, being so happy to book a job. And once the job's over, you don't have a job. And so you're on to the next job, right? And so there's like this anxiety. So anyways, I was so sad. I was like in this cycle that was just, for me, it didn't work. I didn't realize that at the time, but I realized that with time, like looking back now. I remember painting this photo, and it was like a self-portrait, I guess. And I was crying in the photo, right? But then like there was this other layer of me that I painted in it was the same exact woman, but a golden hue. And for me, like at the time I had I knew about the higher self, but I didn't know like what I know now. For me, it was like, there was this part of me that knew everything was going to be okay. There was this part of me that, I don't know, had that hope or that had that guidance. Um, and so that part, that's where I like to say that we're always connected to higher self. Like we always have, unless you're so clouded by the thought and the worries and all of that, then we don't have a clear channel to our higher self. But I think that if you create some sort of discipline, whether that's meditating every day or journaling every day or eating healthy, it cleans up that channel to our higher self. It's almost like having clean arteries.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually is. And that's actually literally what I teach, what you just said. And so starting with the body and the food that you put into your body, and then clearing, the cloudy and the thoughts and the people and the toxicity, just removing the toxicity in your life, because we always have access to our internal GPS, right? And that actually is something I want to talk to you about, is we always have access to this internal guidance system. But if we're clouded with junk, and you're super, super healthy, and you're really, you are the epitome of 100% wellness, because you exercise, you eat healthy, you meditate, and you and I are pretty much exactly the same in that way. And so, but let's talk about the importance of that, because really so many people can't even get to, oh my gosh, how do I get to my highest self when I can't even get through the day? What would you be some advice you'd give them for that?
Yeah, so I would write down like 5 of your favorite people in the world.
You're
And
one.
yeah, and I would write down like, what do you like about these 5 people? What are some traits? How are they with you? How are they with the world? And so this is like a good starting point to get a radar of the things that you value as a person. So let's just say it's, a friend who is just very kind to the server at the restaurant. The observation that we admire is the kindness. So that's something that we value because we observe it. It kind of lights something in us. So I would say in the day-to-day life, do more of those things that you admire in other people, or do more of the things that make you happy, that make you feel alive, whether that's working out or going to bed early, shutting the phone down and picking up a book. That in itself can be really hard in our day and age because we're so addicted to our phones. Mm-hmm. So having the discipline of putting our phone down, at least for the last 30 minutes, and picking up a book just to check, take away that phone, all the information, the stimulation that's coming in through the information on our phone, and having the discipline of just saying, okay, it's me time. And me time can be reading a book, or me time can be having a conversation with your significant other or your children. Sometimes when I meditate, because I meditate every morning at 5 a.m., I start thinking, it's normal. I start having all these thoughts, things I need to do during the day. And I have to tell myself, this is me time. And me time means just being present. And so I think that's one way to just really start taking control of our habits and our day-to-day routines, and becoming aware of the people around us is really taking control of the awareness of our own behavior and our own patterns in life.
I love that, because that's what I teach also. I meditate every morning. It's
yeah.
Same time as you, actually, about 5 a.m. And so my meditation practice is so important to who I am. And it really is, you and I are both, we are entrepreneurs, we're CEOs, we're running around like crazy. I know your fiance, you help him with his baseball stuff. And so finding time for you, especially, what would you say for somebody that is just so, so busy? Because you and we schedule time, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
we're really, really good about saying, okay, you know what? I've had enough of the world. I'm shutting down. And I can't stress enough how much, and when we talk about toxicity, your phone, Instagram, just being on all the time, you have to be on. Just shut down, because when you are on, you're not hearing your higher self, right? When you're connected with other things and other people, you're not connected with your internal GPS. And so let's talk about your internal GPS, because for me and you, but I think that the viewers don't know how to use it, how to tap into that. And so my greatest gift in my entire life is my GPS. I hear, feel, and see things before they happen, right? But only because I am so clean, and only because I work out all the time, and only because I spend an hour in the morning and an hour at night meditating. And so I set my practice. Everybody that is watching the show is not going to be there, right? So what are some basic tips for them that you can give them just to connect? I love the idea of the reading a book and journaling and shutting everything down. But what else would you feel like your internal GPS? Let's talk about that. Because for me, without that, I really am like scattered and chaotic, right? And so I choose to schedule that time to listen to my internal GPS primarily because if I don't, then I'm so off in left field when I'm not in alignment. And I think that when you are in alignment so often and you're not, it really rocks your world, right? So what are some baby steps for people to get to where we are at our level?
Yeah. So it starts with the little things, right? In our day to day, it starts with the little things. So eating. Eating, it's normal for our society because people run businesses. We want to see what others are up to when we eat, scroll through Instagram or scroll through Facebook or Twitter. Like what's the latest headline on the news? Like what's happening it's just in the world. So one of the things that I like to do is put my phone down when I eat.
I love that.
And that's not to say that those around me have their phone down, because I'm around a bunch of entrepreneurs as well. And so it's almost like, oh, I have a break. This is my break. Let me catch up on the latest that's on the news, or let me catch up on the latest on Instagram. But it's like, for me, and my radar is like tuning into my body, not what everyone else is doing, not even in my own household. It's just like what makes me happy. So putting the phone down when we eat and really tuning into the food that we're consuming. That, it sounds so simple, but in our day and age, it's hard. It's hard to like not be tempted to pick up your phone, return that message or return that email. Like just within like 30 minutes, that's, enjoy your food. Be present. That's
I love that. And there's such a vibration to that, right? That you're putting yourself in the vibration of disconnecting and connecting with the food that actually has a vibration as well, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. But I'm not big on my phone. Like I'm not a big person on my phone. When you and I are together, like I don't even pick up my phone at all, or when I'm with anybody. But many people can't get there where they are putting their phone down or anything like that, and that is such a big component. Just stop and do what you love. I love that you said what brings you joy, right? And that I stress so much is that you're never going to get to your highest self if you're not living in joy, right? So if you're not living in joy, it's a very indication that you're not in the right place, right?
There's a little bit of disconnect. And so when we're not connected, the universe tests us. So things will like come and like knock us off and kind of like, whoa, what happened? And what I do when that happens in my life, because it has happened, is like I look at my lifestyle and what I've kind of let go of. So if I, for example, get off of my my meditation, I don't know, it's just something like the universe just says, whoa, like get back to it. So I have to, or for example, food, like if I eat any junk food, I'll break out so bad. And that's just my body saying, yo, like, don't do that.
True. It really is true. And our body does speak with us. I mean, that is the most important thing that one of the most important things that I teach is that listen to your body. It's all within us, right? Everything is within us. If you get sick, or if you're in a car accident, or if you're doing all these things, it's the universe telling you, hey, you are not in the right direction in your life, right? And
there's lessons.
So let's talk about the lessons behind that, because that's a big thing. I mean, I know for sure that life repeats itself over and over again with different people in different circumstances. And if you're not connected to your highest self, if you're not listening to your internal GPS, then those lessons come up. Tell me a little bit about what you feel about that, because I dance with the universe, and when a lesson comes up, I'm like, thank you for that lesson. How is it? What am I need to learn?
Supposed to learn,
The next level. Many people don't. They stay very much in the victim mentality, right? Like,
Well, it takes awareness, as you know, to not be in that victim mentality. I think, I mean, these lessons are, they're a gift, and they're also humility, and they're also a reminder that energy has to move through our body sometimes. Like some things are so stuck in our DNA that, for example, you know this, I had this crazy eye infection in December. Like my eye was swollen like this big. It was
You're still
insane.
beautiful.
Thank you. But I know that I was moving so much energy at that time. I was like really in December was when I said to myself, I'm going to be open to work with other healers because I'm so like, I have my own discipline. I'm very connected to my higher self, my GPS, my guides, I'm very connected in that way. And that I had, it been forever since I had gone to someone else and said, well, hey, what services do you offer? Can you help me with this? Or just be open to it, open to the idea. So in December, I said, okay, well, I'm open to the idea of having others help me or help me grow or help me see like my flaws and where it is that I'm like stunting my own growth. So while I was working with various healers, I have this like massive eye infection. And I think that there was just energy that had to like pull through, the toxic energy had to like get out of my system, and that's how it manifested, was through this crazy eye infection. And every day I would have it, I would say, whoa, like it was just really fascinating to see my eye and like really observe my face and say like, what is happening, and really send it love and compassion and say, I see you, like whatever is happening, I see you. Okay, like what I like, just receiving it and not, I think oftentimes when we have some sort of like something happen to us, it's so easy for us to be like, oh, why did this happen? Instead of that, going into that mentality, which I guess can be the victim mentality, send it appreciation and love and compassion. And I see you. And, like you said, what are you trying to teach me? And sometimes that's in order for us, things like this happen in order for us to also ask for help or to look outside of ourselves, so there's so many different things that come with something like that happening, manifesting.
For sure, for sure. And then, I think the biggest thing is just like a lot of what we can teach is stepping out of your ego. I literally, I've been doing this for 17 years, and I work, I'm I work with quantum physics, quantum healing. I do energy work, and I have people on speed dial that work on me because I believe everybody has blind spots, right? I believe without question that if you don't believe that you're invincible, then the universe is going to show you that, that
Yeah.
there's a higher power above you. But, I also feel like we're always expanding and we're always growing. And so even in the space that you and I live in, which is a very, very high healer space, we've been doing it for a very long time. We understand energy. We understand the quantum fields. We understand the universe. We understand all that stuff. We're still human in some aspects, right? And so we have to, there's part of us that have lessons that our souls have come here to learn. And your eye, when you're saying I see you, and it's not ironic that you were saying I see you and it was your eye, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I teach is, okay, and those of you that don't know, I was in the hospital right before Christmas, and it's kind of funny that you and I both happened
It
to
was
be
around the
at
same time. Yeah,
right?
it was.
And so I was in the hospital right before Christmas, and I had a virus that attacked my spinal cord and my cranial nerve, and I had like Bell's palsy, and I had it was the most excruciating pain I've ever had in my entire life.
Crazy.
And I'm a healer. I do this for a living, right? I'm a health and wellness counselor. I eat healthy. I eat clean. I exercise 5 to 7 days a week. And Angie, I'm telling you that it was probably one of my biggest lessons in my life, because I stopped and I said, oh my gosh, what are you trying to teach me? This is the toxic areas in my life. And your spine is your support system, and yours is funny that your eye was I see you and my spine was the support, right?
Yeah.
And so I wasn't letting support in because I was taking care of the world but not letting people in, right? And so it's very funny that how similar it was, because you weren't letting people in either. And then the universe was like, no, it's okay to have help. It's okay to have support and love. And maybe that was the lesson, maybe it wasn't. But I think that if we stop and we get quiet with our body, it shows us what the lesson actually is, which is so amazing and so beautiful. And that is the highest level of the internal GPS, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Just tuning in, appreciating, listening, acting when you hear it. Like, you know,
Action, definitely
yeah.
taking action. That's a big one, and so many
Yeah.
people, they say, okay, now I got the lesson, now what? And so if they don't take action in the next step and they don't clear the toxicity out of their life, the lesson's going to come back, right?
Yeah, or in a bigger, more impactful way, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, you didn't get it the first time. All right, now you're really gonna get it. You
All right,
know?
now I'm going to put you in the hospital.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I
No. It's fine. It was. Believe me. But the coolest thing in the world, and I do want to tell our viewers this, is that you and I were in the hospital, and I mean, you were doing your eye, and I was in the hospital, but we healed it. We got it done, and we did whatever we had to do to heal it, right? And so we resisted a little bit, and then once we got the lessons, it healed very quickly, right?
yeah.
With the work that we do, which is
Yeah, you know what's funny? I don't know if this happened to you, but when I first saw signs of, because it was a sty at first, and then like it got really infected. When I first saw signs of it, I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Did you have that with your like, "Oh, I'm sick"? I don't know. It was like this weird thing where I was like, "Oh, this would be cool." I've never had a sty before. I wonder what that looks like. And
okay.
then
You
like
invited it in then.
and then when it happened, I was
Your
like,
manifestation. That's perfect.
yeah, I was like, no, that's not what I meant. Like, I didn't want it this long, or for it to get that bad, you know? Yeah,
Mine was a little different. I kind of argued with the universe and told them it wasn't my free will and that I wasn't okay with not, because I'm an athlete, and not being able to work out for a month of my life
same.
was really huge for me. And I
Yeah,
was really angry. So I had anger that I had to work through, but it wasn't even the universe that I was angry with. It was really anger within myself. And
of
that's
course.
really the next thing we could talk about, is that relationships are mirrors and things are mirrors in your life. They happen in your life because they're showing you what's inside of you, right? So I
Yeah,
had things in my life that I was angry about, and I wasn't facing them, right? And it kind of forced me to face them, but it was not an easy thing for me. But with you, it was you really, really getting support, and you give so much that it was really hard for you to get support, and so but you also said, hey, this is cool, and you created and you invited it in, right? So that's the next thing that we can talk about, is inviting things in and manifesting, is because we really truly, the world is not happening to us, the world is happening with us. And when we make conscious choices every single day to have very good energy and clean food and clean and no toxicity in our life, which is hard, but it's a conscious choice that you and I make. And so let's talk about that, because we're manifesting all day, every day. And people are always like, Noelle, how do I manifest? How do I manifest? And really, you are manifesting everything that's coming into your life. You just
yeah,
maybe not liking what you're manifesting because it's your false core beliefs or the energy inside of you or whatever's going on inside of you. But you are manifesting all day, every day, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we are.
So what are your thoughts on manifesting and in the quantum field? I mean, you and I know how to go into the quantum fields, but for people that don't know, and they're always like, well, I need money. The more you need it, the more you're not going to have it because it's a
The
low
universe
vibration,
and the
right? So
need.
let's talk
Yeah.
about the vibrations of manifesting.
Yeah. So, okay. It's really interesting because like, obviously, I live the life that even my home. It's funny because I was talking to my fiance and I was like, it's funny. I remember being a kid and drawing a home just like the one we live in,
Oh, I love
you
that.
know? So,
And your
but
husband's probably like, he's perfect. So he's probably like the one you drew when you were a kid too.
I totally was like, I want to meet a man who's funny, who is from this part of LA, which is where he's from, is older than me. I always wanted a man older than me who had, some experience to appreciate me as a woman in the world. So yeah, no, he's definitely what I had. I had so much resistance towards him at the beginning because I personally wasn't ready for love. It's funny because I did a video with a girlfriend who's a sex and relationship coach, and I talked about this was years ago. And this is again my own like internal what's inside of me. My blocks were I wasn't ready to receive love. Like, I didn't know how. I didn't have examples of it in my life. My mom, you know, I grew up with my mom, who was a single mom. I didn't have role models of male figures in my life. So I was like, I don't need a man. Like, I can do it all myself. Again, that was an internal block that I had that consciously I was okay with. But deep down inside, I wanted a partner and I wanted love. And when I met the person, I didn't know how to receive it. You know, so it always like create arguments or pick on little things that really weren't that big a deal. And so that in itself, but when I worked through that and learned to kind of soften up and let go of those blocks, those like, I don't need a man concepts, were moments where I was able to actually fully receive love. And also allowing, like having compassion for myself and recognizing how I had been all those years. But one of the things that I've learned to do consciously in my day-to-day life now is like when my mind starts to wander into the negative or the lack, I immediately catch it, I shut it down, and I daydream about the opposite, like abundance, prosperity, what could happen. Because it's so easy, I think in our society, it's so easy to think about all of the things that have happened in the past, how we grew up, how our parents were with us, certain people that we meet. Like it's so easy, natural for us to replay those scenarios over and over again. But again, the more that we think about it and focus on it, even if it's subconsciously, the more that we're drawing that vibration into our lives in this current moment. So once you catch it, and as you know this, once you catch it and you convert it, release it, acknowledge it, convert it into abundance and positivity and the lessons that it taught you, then you're able to draw in the higher vibration of what this taught you. So that's one of the things that I consciously do daily, because it's normal to think about things that are nonsense, you know. So to catch it and consciously convert it into the possibilities of life, I think is like the biggest discipline we can have.
I love that. I love that so much. And really, one of the things that I teach is that exact concept of that the law of polarity. It's literally science, right? And so if something is showing up in your life, the opposite has to exist, right? And so that you are connected to a vibration, and that's the only reason why it's showing up in your life. One, for a lesson, and two, because you have limiting beliefs that you need to remove. And so the story that you have behind something, nothing is good, bad, or indifferent. Everything just is. But we attach a story or an emotion to it.
Yeah.
And some people are like, whoa, Noelle, this is really happening to me. This is really big. And yes, it's big to you because that's your lesson and that's your story. But if we take it and get back to a place of neutrality in the science aspect of it, the opposite has to exist, right?
Yeah.
And so I love that you said you stop it instantly, because so many people have this story and then they get stuck in the looping, right, of the brain, and it just keeps going over and over again. And they really just then are just pulling in that other more of that vibration and more of that vibration, and they don't know how to get out of that. And really, it's truly just, if something is in your life, it's for a lesson, and the opposite has to exist. Even if it's good, even if it's amazing, like your wedding day and it's a perfect day, the opposite has to exist somewhere in the quantum field, right? And that's the law of polarity. So we get to choose every single day. We get to choose what our thoughts are. We get to choose where we want to be. We get to choose if we want to attach to our parents' story or not, right? I mean, our parents, when we were 8 years old or 6 years old, we didn't know what was going on, but we attached to all their stories that we thought were the truth. But we get to choose who we are and the highest version of us always. And how I say to judge that is, if it feels good, then go with that. And if it doesn't feel good, then don't go with it. Right?
Cut it out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what would you tell somebody that doesn't feel worthy enough to have all of the stuff that we've talked about?
What would I say to them? Oh, I wish I could just wave a magic wand and be like, "You're not worthy." Or like shake them up and be like, "Don't you realize?" What would I say to them? I've never been asked this question. This is so interesting. So I'm going to apply it to myself. What would I say to myself? I would write a letter to myself.
I love that.
Yeah. So let's say someone who isn't worthy, who feels they aren't worthy, because we all are worthy. We just don't realize it, right? Um, I would say, let's just pretend you are worthy. Let's just pretend. Let's play. And let's just say you are worthy. So let's just say like the worthy part of you is telling the unworthy part of you that you're worthy. So what kinds of things would you say? So for me, what I like to do, because obviously working in the quantum field is a bit scary for people, for a lot of people. And so a way for me to approach it to someone who's not aware of the space or who's new to the space, I always say, let's just play. If I'm like going up to, like, as you know, I speak as well. And so I always usually open up with like, let's just play. So, play pretend. Like I just shared a quote on Instagram, and it was something like, that version of you, your ideal self. Like close your eyes and imagine like your ideal self, and all of the traits this person has, and all how this person is in the world. This is you. This is like the ultimate highest version of you. And so if you can think it, imagine it, it's there, it exists, and it's waiting for you. So those are just some exercises to really expand your horizon and kind of just crumble a little bit, or thin that veil of the I'm not worthy. Because again, like you said, these are all stories that we tell ourselves. So just creating those possibilities and say, let's just play. Let's just pretend. Yeah.
So beautiful, because the joy of a child gets so torn down by society, right? And we have these expectations, and we have these stories, and we have everything, not just from our parents, but society as well. And so my kind of philosophy, and it's not very nice, but it's hell yeah, let's go. You are amazing. Screw this shit. We're out, right? And you go and you just live life. And you know that I live life like I am an adrenaline junkie, right? And I love to play. I love to be in the water. I'm a mermaid. But if life gets overwhelming, just stop and play. Stop and enjoy it. Stop and do you, right? And so many people feel like they can't do you. And my entire advice to that is just stop and play. I love that. Just go play and go do whatever it is that brings you joy, because we're here to have that life, and the universe is so abundant. And when you don't step into that, that's when the burdens of life just become so deep and heavy. And when you just, you and I live in joy. Really, we really truly, like, our lives are in joy. And when it's not in joy, we very much are like, everybody's out and we're going to take joy for ourselves.
Yes.
And it's not being selfish. It's taking care of you and having self-care. And maybe that's a great last subject that we can talk about, is just self-care. What are some quick tips that someone could do for self-care and self-love every day? I know meditation is huge, eating healthy, exercising. What else do you feel? I could go on, but I want you to tell them.
Yeah. Let's see. I always like to apply it to my own life. So some of the things that I love to do is like, what makes you happy as far as what makes you the most productive. So if that's having a clean desk, or lighting a candle, or having a cup of warm tea or warm coffee, buying yourself some flowers, writing down that thought, or even if you're thinking of someone, sending them a text message, kind of allowing that energy to just vibrate out into the universe by you connecting with someone else. Those for me are ways of just lifting up the vibration of your essence, of our essence. What else can be some self-care things? Being mindful of when you're showering, being grateful for your hair or your head, or the awareness or the ability to like actually lift your hands and like move your hair around, because we don't always have this ability. If we injure ourselves, we can't lift our arm. So the little things like that, I'm a big advocate and believer in speaking to our bodies. So I always appreciate my legs and, you know, every part of my body. Like I send the love and gratitude to. This is going to be crazy, but even going to the bathroom, you know, like our intestines are so powerful and they hold so much. And so just being able to literally let go is part of self-care and part of becoming aware of what our body does, because we hold energy there. Mm-hmm. It's not only our food. It's like, this is another intuition. It's like another brain, you know, that is really just, so just being mindful of this mechanic, this body that we're in. In quantum healing hypnosis, we acknowledge the body as being a vehicle to experience this earthly experience. So, you know, Noelle and Angie are, in my understanding of our universe, are little light bulbs, like little lights in this body. And so this body is like a car that we've purchased, and we have to take care of it, and we have to maintain it, and we have to honor it and speak to it. And it's a living being. It's just, you know, it needs that attention as well, that love and attention. So those are some little ways that I like to practice self-care.
Oh my gosh, there were so many good tips in there. So for the viewers that are out there, just even if you don't connect to Angie on a higher level, then just those little tips take with you because they were amazing and incredible. We do have 3 brains in our body, and many don't know this. It's our gut, our heart, and our actual brain, right? And so our body had through the chemistry and everything that's going on in the science aspect of our body, we actually do have 3 brains. The heart energy is actually 1,000 times more powerful than our brain energy, right? So if you get out of your head and you're taking care of your gut, like you said, like going to the bathroom and releasing and having a healthy digestive system, those are so tremendous. But I love that you were like, I'm going to get tea and I'm going to go jump off a cliff.
Yeah.
Hilarious, but whatever brings you joy, right? I think that's the whole thing is what brings you joy is the tea and the calmness, right? And what brings me joy is the adrenaline. And so whatever makes you happy, please take time for yourself. At least carve out time, 5 minutes every day, and stop and know that you are light. We are this beautiful, beautiful light in this world. And when you dim that light, I promise you, you're doing a disservice to you, to everyone in your life, and everyone that cares about you, but even more so, you're doing a disservice to the universe, because your light is so beautiful. And when you shine, the world shines, right? And so I think that's a perfect place to end. And so, Angie, how can people get in touch with you, and what's going on with you? Do you have some, I know you do some coaching. I know you're speaking all over the place lately. About where people can get in touch with you if they want to reach out and need a coach with whether it's self-love, whether it's meditation, whether it's hypnosis.
Yeah, so everything's on my website. That's www.angie-sanchez.com. I have dates there for upcoming events and one-on-one sessions and coaching and quantum healing hypnosis sessions. Instagram, I'm most active as far as a social media platform. That's @_Angie M. Sanchez. And then people can contact me via email if they wish. So that's contact@angie-sanchez.com.
Okay, beautiful. And thank you so much for being here, my love. I love you so much.
I love you. Thank you for having me.
You are my joy. And write down 5 favorite people. She's one of my favorite people for sure.
I love you so much. You're mine too. You're like my mirror reflection. Like we're on the same vibration, and you know that. So yeah,
we are soul sisters for sure. And so, guys, those of you that are out there viewing this show, Angie Sanchez, she's the most beautiful woman in the world, and she can change your life. I promise you, if you have anything going on, of anything that we talked about today, Angie will change your life. And just know that you are powerful, know that you are light, and know that you are loved, and we love you very much. Have a great day, guys, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.